Hello and welcome to yet another session of the Gosu Academy. Today I'm super excited to do this session because we are reviewing let's call it a product. It's called Skybox Edge and it has in no way, shape or form done anything to sponsor this coaching session. But it is the most high-tech analytical tool we have in Counter-Strike, and it's recently been made sort of public so that the average Joe, let's say, can get a subscription and actually use this program. So because of that, I have now asked for permission. Previously, you were not allowed to make any videos or even show it on stream. But now they at least allowed me to do this coaching session. And since it's a program I use all the time, basically for my work, I have a lot of knowledge on how it works. I'll give you a rundown of the different features. And then at the end, we'll do a bit of anti-strat of some random team that we'll just pick so you can see that it's not something I've prepared, but something that we will just learn by using this program. So basically, what is Skybox Edge? Well, it's an analytical tool that is used by all the top teams in Counter-Strike, but it has been used in secret basically for a long time. This program is quite expensive, especially if you buy the biggest package, which is the one that I have access to. It costs 1,300 euros a month to get access to some of the features that I have access to, but a lot of the features are also available for as low as I think 6 euros a month or something like this. So starting out in the matches section, we have private demos. My team uses this to put up point of view recordings of our practices. And what we basically use it for is just to review practices. We also sometimes use it for, I guess this is a Faceit match. We sometimes use it to upload our own ESEA demos or upload other people's ESEA demos because ESEA demos are not automatically added to Skybox. Now, one of the things that's really cool, which I'm not going to show you, but I'll just tell you is true. You can record a point of view demo and then you can actually record your TeamSpeak voice as well. And then you can put them together so you can use Skybox with the TeamSpeak recording to go through your notes really quick. On top of this, they have public demos, which just basically takes matches from HLTV. You can see, for example, these are all from the 7th of November. They got automatically uploaded with the correct score, the map, the Veto, which tournament, and everything is automatic. So if you are doing anti-strat on a team, you don't have to go and download a ton of demos. They are already automatically added to Skybox. The third section is playlists. And what this is basically is just if you're making anti-strat on an opponent, it makes sense to make a playlist. You can clip different rounds and they will be together in one playlist. So I don't want to show you too much anti-strat and I'll only show you something that's old. But just for the sake of this coaching session, let's go to when we played against Let Her Cook on the 11th of April. I had clipped 12 different rounds. So I've clipped, I guess, a pistol round here where they started out with a pistol round where no one started B. Here is the T pistol and how many times they've done it, stuff like this. There will also be things like here, I've written window boost with half buy. So this down here is basically a slider where I can just go back and forth and around. There's also a play button. I can also get it to play in different speeds and stuff like this. But essentially here is a sort of mixed buy round that they had where they boosted in window, and this was just for us. We should look out for when they have low money, check if they window boost. There's another CT pistol here where you see, even though they had people starting B, it was a very late rotation to B. And so since I had the one pistol where they played no one B and a pistol here where they played with very slow rotation to B because they had no one in window, going B might be a very good option. That would be one of the conclusions I would draw from this, right? There's another window boost with half buy, I guess. And basically what I'm using this program for is I'm looking to find tendencies. So something like window boosting when you have half buy is something where if I see you do it multiple times in your different games, I will write it down as a note and we will need to be extra careful of it, right? Here is again, this is their second CT pistol and here they're playing B on retake. So in fact, in all three of the pistols that they've done before our match that we played here in April, they had basically been giving up the B bomb site. So just from looking at this, I would say, going B on pistol is very good. There's a few different things. Okay, here they did a connector stack with low money, and just some notes from Anubis. This was very light prep. This was likely not like an extremely important match. You can see some of the impact matches for us. Like I had insane amounts of bookmarks. Now I'm aiming for something like 30 for best of 3. Anything more than that I find to be too much. But on purpose, I'm not going to show you everything because, one, I don't want to give away team secrets. Obviously, this one was very old, and also there weren't that many rounds. But if I would go to Let Her Cook now, for example, which is a much more recent match, I'm sure I'll be able to show you some stuff which we abused against them. But for the sake of, let's call it my own integrity, I'm not going to do that. Then we have a tab which is team stats. Just for the sake of it, let's take my team's stats here. We have different maps played and win rate and stuff like this. And you get a feel for the different ratings of players, round win rate, a pistol round win rate, and stuff like this. What you can use this for is just tracking performance. I think, let's go and say FaZe. You can also see what is their win rate the last 3 months on the different maps. You can see the different players' ratings. You can even see the different players' roles. And then if you press player performance, for example, goes a little bit more in depth. You can see how many opening attempts, opening kills, deaths traded, and stuff like this. It has so much information. It has clutch stats as well. I think this tab, like team stats overall, I don't use it much. It's mostly for tracking player performance, but I do believe if you are a good coach, you can do that with the eye test, since you'll be spending so much time with your team and you know more about communication and stuff like that. But say you are just a player on the team, you can use this as a tool to track the player performance on your team, to see who is doing like who is basically I guess starting to perform better, who's starting to perform worse, and see if you can make any changes to that. Then you have bomb sites. We can see which bomb sites they hit the most, with what kind of like success percentages on retake and stuff like this. This is a ton of data, right? But yeah, personally, I don't use it so much. If you were a journalist, say, having access to these kind of stats is quite interesting. For me, it's mostly just numbers and not something that I would use for my anti-strat. Maybe even something like this with the bomb sites is something I would take a brief look at, see if there's something out of the ordinary. This can be done as well by just hovering over it. For example, on Inferno A, FaZe are apparently 15% worse than the average pro team at holding this bomb site. And then maybe I could say, okay, hitting A is quite good. Whereas a map like Mirage B or Mirage A, you have not that much chance of winning, I guess. This is one of the big things that you have access to if you have one of the highest tiers on Skybox. It's a Veto predictor, basically. And if we're going to take a look at, let's say, Na'Vi Javelins. This is one of the female teams that we sometimes play against. And when we're here, there is immediately something that is highlighted. This is the Preference tab. The Preference tab basically tells you what maps do they like playing the most. So Vertigo, for example, has -100. They've banned it 89% of the time as their first ban. And in the times where they haven't banned it as first, in fact, I don't even see any stats for when they haven't banned it first. I guess maybe it's because the opponents have banned it, basically, because they didn't end up picking it, they didn't end up banning it, and it wasn't in the decider. This means the opponents have banned it, so basically, Vertigo is a map they never play. But when we look to Inferno, for example, this has an extremely high preference rate, right? They've played it 10 times. It's by far the most played map in the last 3 months. They have a high round win percentage. They have a high win percentage overall, and they love playing it. They first pick it almost any chance they get. So if I'm sitting here and trying to predict the veto, instead of going through many different vetoes from many different maps, I can get a quick overview like this, and I can predict my veto from this, basically. I think this is one of the most powerful tools, and I basically use this for every single match. It is not like I am going to 100% assume that what it says here is the way the veto is going to go, but I can quickly get an overview of which maps they like playing the most. And a map like Mirage, for example, while it looks scary that they have 100% win rate, when you see they only have one match played, then it maybe looks a little less scary. And also, they don't even like playing it that much, by the looks of things. Okay, then we have player stats. Let's just look at my stats, apparently. As an Anubis B anchor, my HLTV rating is unreal, apparently. I'm playing super good as an Anubis B anchor, and I guess, I don't know why it's specifically Anubis, because surely I have T roles where I have higher HLTV rating than this, but you can see my average ADR and the different matches I've played recently. Yeah, I don't really know why it says this, but you see how I am compared to the average, my KD, my kill per round, my DPR, and stuff like this. You can see all these fancy graphs and stuff like this, and I guess it's because this is from the last 3 months where I've had to stand in for a couple of practices, so these are my only roles basically, and then from one facet, which I don't really even know why it's there.
Wait, are those given by the app or like by the team?
These are by the team and then later uploaded. So these are like
I
practice
see.
results,
Yeah.
where I stood in for someone who had to go. That's why I only have 2 roles basically.
I
But I
see.
guess that's right.
I thought like the way you played like the uh, uh, sorry. So basically, I thought like the way you played the app was going to, I can find my words, but to rank you somewhere like what role fits you the best.
Oh, I mean, I guess it kind of would. Like you will be able to tell, I think, which roles you are the best in. Like you can see maps and roles and stuff. We'll dive into this in a moment. So I think it will if you have enough matches played. But because I mean, I only stood in for a couple of matches. But you could use this tool to just upload every demo from your facets and use it to track your progress, for example. You know.
Yeah.
Um, and here, for example, I had a HLTV rating of 0.79, even though I wasn't even playing. So yeah, that's how it is to be a coach, I guess.
It doesn't get the facet demos uh, by itself.
No, you have to download them and
Okay.
then upload them to the site. It only takes HLTV demos automatically.
Okay, so it's okay.
Yeah. Then you can also
It's
see
probably more
about.
like
Sorry.
sorry. It's probably more like for teams like competitive top tier teams or like
I mean, as
teams
I
in
said,
general.
you can just use it for yourself. You could download all the facet demos after your matches and just upload them. It doesn't take that long, and then you could use it to track your progress. Or see which roles are you
Yeah.
the best in and stuff. Like, I would do that honestly if I was trying to improve, because it has so much data that you will never know yourself if you don't have access to it. Um, Here you can see as well full buy versus full buy stats and full buy versus half buy eco, and also apparently I was horrendous in the pistol rounds I played, so that's interesting. You can see my roles. Since again there is not a lot of data. Let's mention one player in the world.
Monacy.
True.
So Monacy,
I
for
think
example, his
of course,
HLTV
of course.
rating versus the comparison. I think I might be the comparison. I'm not sure. Or maybe the comparison. Oh, you can actually even compare it to another player. Mention one more player.
Zivu.
Okay. Then we can see like who has the best HLTV rating, best ADR, and best KD, and all these kind of things. You can see, I guess, the roles that they are the best in. So, for example, for Monacy, he's extremely good on nuke, which Saiwu is also. Actually, I don't really even know how this part works. It's rare that I guess this is Monacy's best roles, and then it's his best T rolls over here, and then the comparison value is how it is compared to Saiwu, basically. I haven't used this whole player stats section that much. Again, you can use this to track your progress if you want to. You can see so much data, it's crazy. You can see like how, like, who is the most eco hungry and stuff like this. You can see the different maps, how this player plays, all these fancy graphs, everything. You can see events. Oh, it's coming soon. You can track official versus practice performance if you upload your own point of view demos and stuff like this. There's so much you can find out about your players by using the player stats tab. What I would probably use this for, if it was me, like, I would never use this for my own players because I see them play every day. I would probably use it to track their progress on certain maps or certain roles. But what I think this is really interesting for is if you want to scout players. Say you're looking for a new player for your team, and you don't know if they'll fit in the roles or not. You can just, if they have HLTV matches played, or if you have some Faceit demos, you can upload a bunch of demos and you can actually get like a full player profile about, maybe the rating is extremely high against eco, but in full buy versus full buy it isn't that good. Then maybe it's a person who is just playing for stats, right? But other than this, I think this is super cool. Sort of, again, if you're a journalist, or if you're like a Counter-Strike agency looking for players, or if you are so on and so on, or if you're a team looking to hire a new player and you want to find out how good he is. But I think from a anti-strat point of view, this isn't that useful. Then there's the 2D replayer, and do you guys have a name of a team?
Let her cook.
Let her cook. Okay. So for example, with Let Her Cook, right? We can first of all see how many maps they've played. So like, there's no data for Nuke, which probably means they don't play Nuke. But we can see they played 5 Infernos and 3 Anubis and so on and so on. Why is this actually? Oh, sorry, Let Her Cook is up here. So what I do when I anti-strat, and I will get a little bit more into this, is that there's a lot of different filters you can use. Like if you say pistol, for example, now it's going to show me only the pistol rounds of each match. And this doesn't seem that, well, I know nothing about programming, but this doesn't seem that difficult to code. You literally have to just save the first and the 13th round of every match. But where it gets interesting is you can say, I want to see when Let Her Cook have half buy versus full buy, and what kind of rounds they do this in. So like here, for example, I can see all of these rounds that I'm clicking on will be Let Her Cook on the CT side having a half buy on Infernal. I can also, right now I have it on both sides, but I could see only T side, for example. There isn't that many. But then I can start trying to find patterns. Like I even have a note here, I guess. Here they had a force buy short pop, for example, which was worth for us to know before we played them. They killed someone in boiler, and now they go do some short pop. And then I have a clip of it. We know where the smokes are going to land, where the players are going, and stuff like this. There's a bunch more stuff you can do in the 2D replayer, but I think we'll keep that for the anti-strat section, which is at the end of this session. So instead, I'll just move on to leaderboards. This is one of the best things, I think, if you are like a lot of the things we've mentioned are like, oh, it's good if you're like a journalist writing articles, or it's good if you are, you know, a team searching a player, or this is good if you are whatever, wanting to track someone else's performance. This thing, leaderboards, is so damn good if you're a player who wants to get better at the game. Could any of you give me a map?
Anubis?
Anubis? Is it CT or T?
It's decided. No?
Okay. No, but just like which side
Oh,
you want to
let's
learn about?
go city.
Okay, CT. And which role?
Uh, what what does it like city all around mean? Like the
That's the rotator,
map?
basically. That's the AWP players, mostly. Like you see Monacies and
Yeah,
Bayous.
let's go with that one.
Okay. Then you can check of the AWP players who are playing CT all round. It's all AWPs, as you can tell. Against top 30 in the last 3 months, Saiwu is the one who has the highest rating. And then it's Wonderful. And then it's Sunbayus. And then it's Modesty. And then it's, you know. You can also go even stricter and say the top 10, or you can go bigger. And if I say top 200, it's no longer Saiwu. Now it's Klim, you know, from G2 Ares. This might not seem so interesting, but if, for example, I am an A anchor on Anubis, I've had it a lot that I'm thinking, oh, I would love to learn from a better player, but I don't know who is the best in this specific role that I'm looking for. So say I'm an A anchor on Anubis, or I'm a fucking, on Mirage, I am a B anchor, right? Then apparently right now against top 30, it's actually Cadian who has the best stats. Now his sample size is quite low. He's only played 36 rounds, while a lot of the other people on the list here have more. So we can scale this up so Cadian disappears. Then we can see of people who've played roughly 100 rounds, Norbert is actually the best. For me personally, no offense to Norbert, right? I respect him as a player. I think he's a good player. But if I was looking to be better at Mirage B, I would never download a Norbert demo. And I would for sure never download a Snappy demo, right? Like a highly criticized right now IGL on a losing team. Why would I watch him? But it turns out that Snappy right now is actually one of the best B players on Mirage in top tier Counter-Strike in the world. You get why that's pretty nice to be able to find?
Yeah.
Because now I know which players I should watch demos of instead of always looking at the big names. Like, realistically, I would probably go watch someone like Messi, or maybe someone like Kerrigan, or maybe someone like Magix, you know? People from the big teams and stuff like this. But it's very likely that with how high his rating is, that Norbert literally is the best B Mirage player right now. And so if I were to watch a demo to learn from someone, I should watch it from the best. And you can do this with any map, any side, any position, basically. So this is, I think, a super cool tool for you personally. Then the next thing is something that's quite new. It's called Pattern Finder. And what it basically does is it generates, as you can see, tracers from every grenade thrown throughout a match. Oh, well, throughout all matches, basically. I will show you a example that I have specifically used. You can tell this to Sebi if you want, because I'm gonna expose him a little bit here. So basically, we recently played against Eds Athena, and I checked with this pattern finder. They have a specific Molotov that they throw, which lands when they are T-side. They have this Molotov. You see these lines? I can now make a square around just these lines. And then I'm going to find all the times that they did a Molotov from ladder room that went to the back of gap, right? This is something that Ends Athena does, where they will Molotov here in gap, and then they will from ladder room Molotov the back, so that the gap player has to fall all the way back, and they can immediately take the space. It's actually really a cool play, but what I use this pattern finder tool for against Sibi, which you can tell them about if you want, because they might want to change it. I can see here the timings of which they get thrown, and can you see kind of the problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, any ideas?
I mean, it's pretty. Wait, what is the word? It's pretty repetitive. No,
Yes.
maybe the team, like the enemy team, can like um get used to it and maybe find the anti-strat for that molo or something.
Yeah, basically what I just did was I looked at the patterns here and looked at when they threw this Molotov, and then I saw they only ever do this Molotov right at the beginning of a round, right? And
Yeah.
always at 143 or 141. That's like a 2-second split, right? So what I just told my gap player is, hey, they have this Molotov. You should be careful. They might do this combination where they burn the whole gap. But after 141, you never have to worry about this again. And that's like something where I think, yeah, if I was Sibi, this is something I would look to change. If you instead do some rounds where you play slow and then you do this combination of Molotovs later in the round, then it becomes strong because players have to worry about it for the entirety of the round, right? But by just using this pattern finder tool, I don't need to go through like, look how many demos this is. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 demos, and it's a lot of different rounds. So I've now, literally what the thing is called, it's called pattern finder. I've literally found a pattern which is, as you said, repetitive. I know if this Molotov isn't thrown before 140, it will never get thrown. And then I don't have to be aware of it, you know?
Yeah.
And then also, really cool, you can say replay the rounds. Now I'm getting only the 12 rounds where they did this Molotov. And you will see that all of them will be this exact case. We can even find the match. You will see this is the game they played against us. Obviously, I haven't watched these rounds really back, but they nade gap, and now they do the Molotov on the back. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't really bother us. We've obviously talked about this ahead of time. Here, Naomi gets Molotov, and it's very likely, if Naomi was paying attention to the prep, which I'm pretty sure she was, that she will know when they throw this Molotov, the likelihood of her being Molotov. You can see actually, she doesn't stay right behind it. She falls all the way back, right? And this means when this other Molotov comes, now, ideally, she should have been maybe even a little bit more aware that this is probably a play they would go for. But there will probably be rounds where maybe we are careful of this, and then after 140, we know it's not a worry anymore. I think that's really cool. Okay. Give me any random team, guys.
Navi Junior. Let's see
Navi Junior. Yeah.
They kind of got like really good rank on H8 Like it's number 50 now, no?
I don't know, but I know they're playing really great lately.
Yeah. They grinded like crazy.
And they're also playing a lot. Look at this. Like, they played
Yeah.
21 Anubis,
They're really
23
good.
Ancient, so on. So,
Yeah.
this tool is really cool. Is there one of the maps you would like to know more about them on?
We could do ancient.
Yeah. So this is actually stupidly overpowered. This is their entire playbook, basically. You can see what mid rounds they've done and how many percentages. You can see set strats, like just contacting B from ramp is apparently something they like doing a lot. They do it 9% of rounds. They also sometimes go A from main, blah, blah, blah. You can also see they like doing B rush. They also do a little bit of A rush. They have different defaults. They have different map control, stuff like this. They have different utility. and they also have like set strats for control, I guess, and some boosts. This is also
And
kind of
unfair.
what's right? Yeah, kind of unfair.
Yes.
Yes, it is actually kind of unfair. You can also see how much do they rush, right? If I would go in here and I would see, okay, 0% of the time they rush, then it means we can keep our utility at the start of rounds, right?
Yeah.
And this is information that takes me like 5 seconds to look up. You can also see they don't play that much. I mean, they do play 1 out of 5 rounds on the T side of Ancient. They do a set strat, but most of the times it's mid round or something in between, right? The same on CT. I can see all their pushes, stuff like this. Like, for example, and I know it sounds crazy actually. When I got my hands on this program, I thought this is basically impossible, right? But let's say I want to see their close. Let's find something better. Let's see their early B lane push, right? They do this in 5% of rounds. If I press 2D, I only get the rounds on CT where they do an early B lane push. Like pushing this. And you will see this will be the case for all the rounds. Like, isn't this crazy?
Yeah.
That's
And
so stupid.
it literally doesn't make a mistake, you know?
I mean, doesn't make this like the scene way more competitive now?
Yes, it's at least like you could like teams at this point could almost hire, I would say, a full-time data analyst to just sit and look at Skybox data, you know? That might literally be worth like spending money on, because you could see there's not one round where they don't, like Carbini is basically out here in all of these rounds. Okay, here it isn't Carbini, but every round there's someone who's early pushing this.
This is literally pay to win.
Yeah, right? It's
Yeah,
fucking
crazy.
crazy. It's really fucking crazy. Yeah, I think it's crazy. You can also go and see the utility stuff like this. Okay, as if that isn't stupid enough, right? I have never actually used this much because I think it is pretty crazy, but it's. You guys pick a team, any team.
Mouse.
Mouse. Okay, and let's say you're playing a best of 3 against them. What 3 maps are you expecting to play?
Mirage. Inferno. Nuke.
Nuke, yeah.
Okay. Then I'm going to generate a match prep report. And this is going to take, I think, like 30 seconds or something like this. But
Ain't no way.
it basically generates like a full, match prep that you can use for this match. So if you're going into a best of 3 where you simply don't have time to anti-strat the other team, you can generate a match prep report and it will just finish immediately, basically.
Will anti-strat the team in 30 seconds.
Now it's done. Then I can see everyone's roles, right? Their ratings, their ADR, everything. I can see, have they been hitting A or B the most, like on pistols and half versus full buy, full versus half of full buys, right? I can see how much they're rushing in pistols, in full buy rounds, stuff like this. Like, okay, on Mirage T side, they rushed in 0 full buy rounds. That's pretty nice to know. Then I know we can maybe delay our utility at the start, right? You can also see the preferred defaults, their pistol strats that they've used the most. You can see full buy strats that they use the most, anti-force buy rounds that they use the most. You can see significant stats, stuff like this. And this is obviously only T side. On CT side, you can see the same with all the roles. This is crazy if it works. It was broken for a while. Yeah, I think it's still broken. That's so sad. It was actually really cool. But basically, you could click certain times and then you could click a position. So you could see, like, for example here, between 125 and 110, Sertion is playing the most B short. But he can also be A balcony. Like, this is third most, like, preferred spot, kind of. So they probably do a bunch of strats where the short player is starting A, right? But there used to be that you could click here and you could even get a generated heat map about where they were standing the most in this area. I'm pretty sure it's gonna come back, but you can see different stats and stuff like this, and then obviously there is for every map. I personally don't use this for my anti-strat because I think while it's a pretty cool idea with the match prep, like at least in terms of the roles and stuff like that, that's nice. But I just go and do it on team stats by myself. I guess, yeah, if you're pressed for time, being able to know where people like to start and where people will go in the late rounds and stuff like this is very nice. But yeah, I'd rather just do the manual labor when it comes to anti-strat. But this does give a like decent quick view, basically. Then also there's something called Veto simulation. I actually have never used this. It's completely new. I didn't even know this was something that is here. Can I change this? I'm not sure if I want to show this because I don't want to give anything away. And I think I can't change my team. So I think I will have to not let you guys see this. It's a new tool. I still have stuff to learn. And that's also, by the way, another great thing with Skybox. Like this pattern finder, for example, it came out when we had our match against ENS Athena in Impact Finals. I think that's about a month ago. The match prep was kind of new. The vetoes on the team stats are new. This veto simulation is completely new. You can see it's still in beta. So they are adding new things all the time, basically. It's super active. But yeah. What do you guys think so far?
I think it's pay to win.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty OP, but like it can be maybe like I'm thinking about a counter for this. Like the way I think about it is that players like pro players should be like more flexible and playing by spawns.
Yeah?
Like doing a whole lot of things different. Like don't put Monezi to play window. Let him be the lurk. Or I don't know. Try to I don't know. Try to give op to Kerrigan or something. Like do something crazy. Maybe that's the counter for this app. Like you have to not expect the unexpected. You know.
Yeah, I get what you mean, and I think you're not sort of wrong. I think you're just looking for the answers in the wrong place. Like in football, for example, you also have a bunch of analytical tools, but you don't let Ronaldo go play goalkeeper, you know?
Yeah.
Analytics are, I mean, it is just that it's a tool, but it won't make you win. Like, it it's not like a bad team can go and have this program to anti-strat FaZe, for example, and then they're gonna beat FaZe if they're not,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
in their tier. But for sure, if you're playing against teams that are of sort of equal skill level, um, being able to anti-strat is really powerful and is definitely something you should do. What I think is the best thing about this program is about, well, it's not even a program, it's actually just a browser, right? But um, or like a website, I mean. But basically, what I think is so great about this program is that it allows you to sift through way more information in a shorter time. Like previously, if you wanted to find out what another team's pistols were, right, you would have to download, let's say, maybe 3 or 4 recent demos, and then skip through all the pistol rounds, which would, like, for 4 different demos, that's gonna take you, with the downloading time and everything, at least like, I want to say 20-25 minutes of just skipping through the demos, and then the only thing you've learned from that is just the pistols. With this program, you can do it in less than a minute. So what it realistically does is that some of it is stats and stuff like that, but a lot of it, I would say, is you need to understand how to read the stats to get anything proper from it, right?
Yeah. Of course.
But what it does really is just that it saves you so much time. And I'll show you something as well, which is like, yeah, there are so many things you can do with this program. It's pretty broken. You can press this button down here, which is called multi-round, right? Who is actually even playing AWP for Navi Junior? Do you know? I guess it's this symmetry.
Yeah.
So if I press multi-round, now I can see all the rounds that they have ever played all at the same time. You see? Or like not ever played, because I have it set to 3 months, but all the rounds that they've played in the last 3 months all at the same time. And I mean, there's already some patterns here, right? They smoke B doors from spawn a lot, and they smoke down mid a lot, right? But I can even pick to put off all the utility, remove the bomb, drop from the map, remove drop utility. I can click all these players away, for example. Actually, then I can even go into filters. I can say I want rounds only where Navi Junior have an AWP. Now I think it's going to reset, but I can click all these off, all the utilities off, and now I'm only looking at the AWP player from Navi Junior in the last 3 months. Mind you, this is what was it, 21 or 23 demos? And I can see every spawn he takes from the start of matches. So I can see what... This is, by the way, only rounds where he has an AWP. So now from this, I can see where he likes to start with AWP the most. This guy is clearly very well-rounded. He does many different things. But if you would go find a team... Again, let's just find a... I'll do Navi Javelins, because we are on Navi anyway. On that team, it's Veto. If I go multi-round, rounds where she has an AWP, then we can see like how she starts every round. Okay, so she really rarely starts in Donut, I can assume from this, right? And she actually starts a lot. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is also just something, again, I could skip through all these rounds in a demo, but being able to just do it at once is so much easier. And if you want to narrow it down, I can say just last month, for example. I guess they haven't played it all in last month, but for Navi Junior then, because maybe 3 months for them is too much, we could also do the last 2 weeks, right? And then I can see, okay, what AWP peaks have he taken in the last 2 weeks? How has he been starting, right? So yeah, this is super cool. I'll show you another thing which is pretty fucking broken. I can go into team stats of Navi Junior. I can go, I can go in Playbook of Navi Junior on the T side, right? And then I can go into map control, and I can check rounds where they take cheetah control. Yeah? These are all the rounds where Navi Junior ST have someone who get into this room. This round they get in there. In this round they have someone. In this round, so on and so on. It's going to be a little bit later, but now they're in there and so on. This is obviously super cool that I'm able to check this. But I can even add an extra filter, and I can say, I want to see only the rounds where they take this control and they end towards B. Now you can see this is quite a lot of rounds, right? But I can also remove that filter, and I can check only the rounds where they end towards A. And look how much fewer rounds this is. This means that if Navi Junior have anyone who just sets foot inside this room at any point in any round, the likelihood of them ending B is like 3 times as big as them ending A. Isn't it kind of crazy that you can go and check something like this?
Yeah. So, do you think teams like in the future will still have coaches?
That they would what, sorry?
That they will still have coaches?
Yes, I do, because I think, again, this tool is good, but you have to understand how to use it, basically. Like, there is so much information, so many things you can use this for, but you have to know what you're looking at and for. Also, like, in my team, for example, I'm the one probably making most of the anti-strat in terms of the game plan, with some other players, right? but most of my players are doing some kind of individual anti-strat, right? And I believe I could, as a coach, do all of the anti-strat for every match we ever do, and I would be able to allow my players to just focus on their own individual anti-strat. They could leave like the overall game plan to me, and they could focus on just their own roles. And that will not only free them up from not having to spend the time, they could go on deathmatch instead, or they could do their own individual anti-strat, or they can, instead spend the time like playing deathmatch or doing other things to up their performance, right? So
This is more like having a team analyst and a coach.
yes, basically, I would say instead of teams wanting to remove their coach, it's more like this tool makes the coach even more valuable because the coach can do more work in a shorter time. So if you have a good coach and you have access to this program, that coach can do a whole lot more than previous, because what now takes me 30 minutes to an hour would maybe normally take me 3 to 4 hours, right? And I think that's the beauty of it. Since we are headed into probably the last 15 or so minutes of this session, I promise you guys I'll show you how I do anti-strat. I'm not gonna tell you all my secrets, obviously, because this is my main job, and because of that, I can't, like, it would be stupid of me to tell, all my secrets, right? But if you guys give me a team, I will tell you some of the things that I would look for while anti-stratting a team. It can be any team. It can be. I would prefer if it's not a female team, because I don't really want to sit on anti-strat teams that I might compete against. Just again from an integrity standpoint, like I don't want to out anyone for doing something wrong, and also because that would be a read I could then not use myself at a later time.
And your anti-stress vitality.
Yeah, for sure. So, I actually forgot to say that, but Psych, your name is pronounced Psych, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm playing with it. I don't know, like first of all, it was Red Psych, then I changed it to Psych, then now it's kind of Psych. Oh, I don't
Okay,
know. I'm still thinking about it.
all good, all good.
Yeah.
But basically, what you said was that maybe you should like let Kerrigan play up, or you should make Monacy play Lurk or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
I think what I said to you was that you've got the right idea, but I think you're looking for the answers in the wrong place. What is the case with a lot of the tier 1 teams is that they will obviously have set strats, and they will have certain things that they will do again and again, but they have to change from event to event what they do more than other teams, because everyone studies them basically,
Yeah.
and they have to think about new things, and also the meta kind of changes really fast, right? In the T1. So just I'm using that to preface when we are going to anti-strat a team like Vitality, for example, it will be more difficult to anti-strat because they play good default Counter-Strike, right? And that is how you beat a tool like Skybox Edge. When I'm anti-stratting a team, if I see patterns, I'll give you even a pattern that I saw. Or will I? Yeah, I guess I can give you this. So, for example, with Spirit, right? We played them on Inferno, and I realized that if you go to their buy rounds, you go 4x4 on the CT side, I'm going to predict that majority of the rounds they're going to have at least one player sandbags. Look. Here they didn't. Here they do. Here they kind of do. Here they do.
At this
Here they
point,
do.
just let the AI place.
Here they
Yes.
do. Yeah. But it's like, I found out that they have a tendency to start someone sandbags in majority of buy rounds, right? And this is something that I will then look to abuse against them. So, like, if you go check our match against them, we won very convincingly against them on Inferno, partly because their default was very repetitive, and repetitive is easy to beat, right? If you go to Vitality and look at their CT sides, how I would approach if I would anti-strat Vitality on Inferno, for example, is I would go first and I would watch their pistol rounds. Now, since it's a tier 1 team, they play a lot of HLTV matches, so let's go instead like last month. They've done 3 pistol rounds on CT. And then in this event, first of all, they're playing with stand-in, right? So it's possible they're doing something different than they're used to. I would expect that in all these pistol rounds, they're doing something different, right? Pistol rounds in general are a little bit random. Like, they're difficult to predict as well. I'm just telling you, this is how I would look for an anti-strat for a pistol round. I'm not going to tell you my theory behind anti-stratting pistols, because if I give that, I think teams can use it against me. But you can develop your own style. Like, I know certain teams that we play against, it feels like basically when you play a Counter-Strike match, it's like when you play pistol rounds, some teams will like heavy anti-strat. Maybe they will look at your last pistol round and they will do something that fucks that up. Other teams will do it that they will look at what you did last time and then they will assume that you are going to change. So they are going to do, like if you did B-stack, if Vitality does B-stack here, right? This is the oldest demo. They did a B-stack. So it's possible that I go to this one and I say, if I was a T, I would rush B, because the likelihood that they do a B-stack 2 rounds, like 2 pistol rounds in a row, is not that big. But here you see, they actually did B-stack 2 rounds in a row. I have my own theory or way I approach pistol rounds. Again, I don't want to tell you guys too much, but just this is how you can use this feature. Like, look for things that are, again, repetitive. Here, for example, I tell you, going 3 apps. We'll see, does this happen again? No. But even here, what I would say is a pattern I immediately see from Vitality is they don't play fast pistol rounds on Inferno T side. This is pretty slow. This is pretty slow. It's kind of like a default. This is kind of like a default. So now I know aggression as CT in a pistol round against Vitality is probably not the best, because if they are playing default, we won't be able to catch them off guard. Against such a team, we probably want to take information mid-round. That's one of the reads I would do in a pistol round. Then what I always do is I will always go and I will look at half buy versus full buy. So these are rounds where Vitality don't have that much money and they're playing against the full buy. In the last month, they haven't had any of these rounds. If we go last 3 months, you will see that they did. Then I will check, like, okay, what kind of force buys have they done? So here, it's just kind of like a straight up B hit, kind of. Like, I think they were ending B, right? Yeah, they're ending B, it's just like a B pop. You can see here they again fight with kind of 4 for banana. And it looks like they actually want to do the same B pop. It's the next round in the same match. Then here again, now they play towards A and it's kind of like slow-ish. It's not very much a set strat. Then here, they're actually 4B again. This could indicate that they were trying to do the B pop. And yeah, I'll just skip through the rounds. Here again, it's not very, how can I say, it looks like when they go B, they go a lot with B pop. When they go A, it's much more default-ish. You see again, it's like a mid-contact. They don't want to use utility to take this space, and then they just play out for kills with, typically, they have like at least 1 purchase rifle. Funnily enough, it's always on the same guy, more or less. Is there something with this guy? Then I will go and I will check their full buy versus half buy. So basically they're like, you can go last month again. I will go check how do they play rounds where they have the money advantage. And I will again look for patterns on this. Then afterwards, I will go do the same just on CT side. Like I will go first half buy versus full buy. I will check their force buys, blah, blah, blah. Then I will go full buy versus half buy, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end, I will go each side and I will go full buy versus full buy. And I will look for overall tendencies. So for pistol rounds, it is kind of random. I will obviously do my best in predicting what they are going to do and what would be good to do against them. I do think I have quite good reads when it comes to pistol rounds, typically. When it comes to like what they do as force buy, this is really, really valuable information. Especially on a map like Inferno, where there are a lot of pops, I would absolutely want to know every kind of force buy they've ever run, or like not ever, but in the last 3 months, what they've run. And I will basically only note it down if there is something that either A is, again, repetitive, or B is something that is out of the ordinary. Like a B-pop, for example, my note would just be, they like to do B-pop. But this thing on A, for example, the fact that they are doing like many mid-contacting with one AK going in front and Tech 9s around it is really interesting. That's where, okay, if we can have our AWP playing long or playing short start of round holding this, that's dream scenario, basically. And these are, not only was it repetitive on both bomb sites, but also it was, at least the mid contact is something out of the ordinary. So I will write that down. Now, there are map specific things I will look for as well. I again don't want to give you too much information, but just imagine like on Vertigo, what I showed you from Sebi's team in Athena, they had this Molotov that goes from ladder room. I will sometimes, not always, look at Molotovs in ladder room, see where they Molotov and at what timings. On a map like Inferno, I have certain things I look for when people are T or CT. Again, don't really want to give away what I'm looking for because people might be able to use it against me. Oh, one of my teammates is active and sitting and watching demos right now. That's funny. But yeah, basically I will just be looking at, I guess, how they play. I guess I can tell you one thing because this isn't that much of a tell, but one of the big things, probably the biggest thing I'm looking for when I'm anti-stratting someone's T side on Inferno is how much do they start 3B and how much do they start 3A, because that is really all Inferno is about. If I had wallhack and I would be able to tell that Vitality started with 3 players on B, I would go A immediately. If I know that it started 3A and 2B, I would play it as a more default round. But this is information you normally in a match rarely get, especially against a tier 1 team. You don't get this kind of information for free. So it's something you can anti-strat, because if you see a team, I remember specifically this was many years ago, it was actually funnily enough NIP that I was playing. I was playing NIP in the major qualifier with Sprout back then. And we had a read that every single round, NIP started 3B. And we had a whole game plan about how we were going to abuse that. And what happened actually was that NIP changed IGL at this event. I don't remember who was the IGL in the anti-strat we saw, but at least Lecro became the IGL. And so they actually changed completely the playstyle that they had on CT, which was very interesting. And definitely was, a problem for us because our whole game plan was hinging on the fact that they were doing this specific thing, which they were then not doing. But yeah, basically, if you know where a team is stacked, if you know how often they play 3B, it's super valuable information. Certain other things you can look for that I don't really want to say too much about, but that's at least, I kind of have a checklist and I also will happily say I have like a template document that one of my teammates have made, where I write in what our game plan is. I write in what our pistol round is, what we want to do against them when they have force buy, what we want to do against them when we have force buy on both sides, what is a good first buy round, what is tendencies the opponents have, what is in some matches, for example, I almost don't even have one good first buy round because they just play so random. I don't see any patterns that we can abuse. Like a team like Let It Cook, for example, they just play it as if it's a face it, and it's really difficult to know what is a good first buy round. But against a team like Spirit, last time we played them, it was super straightforward on a couple of the maps for us to have a very strong buy round because they were very repetitive in their buy rounds, and knowing their patterns just meant it was really easy to, outside of the server, make a plan that would almost guarantee us the first buy round. So this kind of checklist is what I would also do. And yeah, again, obviously this isn't sponsored in any way, but if I would give you any advice, I'd say use Skybox for it. It's so much faster. You can do so much more. And yeah, just now you've got a run through of what this program can do. So yeah, guys, that is not a little but a lot about Skybox Edge and how I use it and how you can use it as well. Are there any questions about Skybox Edge or anything we talked about in this session? Or are there any questions about anything that's not related to today's session?
Do you know why this hasn't been public?
No, I don't actually. I don't know why. It could be that they wanted it to. I think maybe they wanted it to be tested by the pro teams first, so that they could get very powerful feedback, right? Like I personally have given a lot of, well, not a lot, but I've given some feedback on things I would like to see them add, or things that like errors, stuff like this. And I think maybe they wanted it to be a private tool for, the big organizations at the beginning, where you had sort of a helping hand, but then you also, gave the developers of this tool a helping hand in making sure it's really good. And now that they feel confident that this is a working product, now they are ready to make it public. I guess that's the reason.
But it was costing 1,300 all the time. Or
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I'm not the one paying, so I just saw the pricing, how it was today. But I can tell you as well, Refrag did the same. I had access to Refrag like 5 months because I know Casey Foster, who was one of the creators, or maybe just the only creator. I'm actually not sure, but he gave me access to it like 5 or 6 months before it came out publicly. Just because I was friends with him or like knew him,
okay,
So
so you're kind of a beta tester.
yeah, kind of. It's like a pro privilege in some way. Yeah. Any other questions, guys?
Do you think you'll be able to use this again, like before tier one match, like in a major or something?
I think all teams use this. All top teams use this. Like, I'm pretty sure all top teams use this. If you think of any top tier team right now, they will be using this. So yeah, like it's just a damn good program, yeah. Guys, I think we can do one more question, but then I'm gonna have to go because as always I have to go up so damn early on Fridays. So yeah, anyone got a pressing question? Okay. if no one has a question, guys, then I just want to thank you so much for coming, and I hope, I mean, I think it's evident when I'm doing a coaching session I'm really excited for. This one I've been, as I said before we started the recording of the session, I've been wanting to do this already for 5 months, but I wasn't allowed, and now they finally let me. So yeah, if I was any of you and I was serious about improving in Counter-Strike, I would go and subscribe to this for a month for €6. Give it a try, see if it's something for me, and if it isn't, then you don't have to. But I think it's such a cool program, and yeah, I think you can learn a lot by just like uploading your Faceit demos and checking them out. Also, like, it's good for if you have a clutch, for example, you want to see how the other player was playing it against you. You can always just upload it to Skybox. You can do whatever you want while you wait, and then you can just quickly go into the round and then it's go through it without having to launch Counter-Strike, open up the demo, scroll to the round and stuff like that. It's easier this way. That's at least my experience.